Hey, so I wanted to do a video that wasn't alive because I wanted to think really carefully about what I say before I say it. And this is specifically for my Pennsylvania friends who may be distraught by my seemingly sudden focus on social justice issues and dismantling systemic racism and calling out racism. Here's the thing. Back in the day, in high school, where I achieved a lot, I'm very blessed to have achieved a lot. I would have given Candace, what's her name, Candace Owens? I would have given her a run for her money. I would have. And this video is basically a response to not the latest video I received, so this is not to that friend, but this is to basically not just people in Pennsylvania, but also white folks that are finding the one or two Black people who say racism doesn't exist and sending their Black friend that video and saying, well, see, this person doesn't agree with you. So old girl Candace, I know her very well because I used to be her. Why did I used to be her? It's a good question. It came from a place of wounding. In my hometown, there were not a lot of Black people. It was less than 1% Black when I was in high school. And I was in the gifted program at a very young age. And I was teased by the Black kids. And it hurt me because I was like, there's only like 20 of us. Why are y'all making fun of me? This wasn't all of the 20 Black kids, but I'm saying it was a specific group. And they made life pretty miserable for me in junior high. And I just made this decision like, all right, I'm gonna go where I'm celebrated, and these white folks over here are cool, and you know what? I can sound like them and they accept me. So boom, here I am. And as I did that, it was almost like I started to feel a sense of pride that I wasn't seen like the other Black kids. I had numerous white friends and white parents of my friends that would say, oh, you're so different. And that made me happy. I've forgiven myself for that because, you know, you're a kid in high school. You're just trying to figure out where you fit in, right? So because I had been seemingly rejected by a large group of people that looked like me, I was like, well, great, I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna be with the white folks. So that was primarily my social group. And I learned to not call attention to issues of racism that happened, which were many. My parents have been troopers. They've just now started telling me about some things they had to deal with some of my classmates' parents. I've already mentioned the fact that there were white guys who were not allowed to take me out on a date because I was Black. My first kiss, which should be a beautiful experience for anybody, especially a young woman, the next day, it was like the talk of the school. And I remember he called me that afternoon. And I was so excited because he was like my best friend. We were always together for a time. And he called me and he said, you know, the guys in the locker room, he was on the soccer team. Guys in the locker room were talking about it, you know, and they were like, well, she's Black, but I guess it's okay because it's Ziggy. That's what they called me in high school and junior high. And he was like, you know, I think it was a mistake. We shouldn't have kissed. He initiated the kiss, mind you. And up to that point, we had been best friends for like 2 years. And that really hurt. But because I have become so well versed in trying not to call attention to my blackness and just trying to blend in, I just kind of pushed it down. And I was like, okay. So when I talk to people from high school about stuff like this, about racism, about what my experience really was like, they were like, but you achieved so much, it must not have been that bad. But that was strategic because, again, you're trying to blend in. We had, I think, 60 Black students in a school of 2,000 when I graduated. There were about 20 Black students in my class. And yes, I was outspoken for certain causes. I was seen as a leader. But I never quite wanted to take up the banner for calling out racism because I thought I was different. And that came from the wounding. That came from being teased like Gabby Douglas was teased for her hair. I was teased for my hair in high school by these two Black sophomore girls. And I remember I was like, gosh, I always say hi to them. And all they did was make fun of me. But I still said hi to them, because I was like, I'm not going to stoop to that level. But that was another part of the wounding. And when I got to college, similar things happened. I had debates with Black kids at Pitt in a great class called African American Rhetoric. It was such a great class. If you went to Pitt, Jack Daniels taught the class. It was so dope. But I remember there was this Black woman from Beverly Hills who didn't know me from a can of paint, but was like, you don't like being Black. And she made all of these declarations about who she thought I was. And I remember thinking, but you don't actually know me. Like, how can you make that judgment? So what did that do in addition to teaching me how to stand up for myself in an academic environment? It also added more fuel to the fire. It caused me to continue to separate myself. Joining my sorority definitely helped. I had a serious white boyfriend at the time, and my Blackness was not an issue for us until we got pulled over by the cops, until his grandparents didn't want to meet me because they weren't ready for me. So fast forward to adulthood, and I join a large evangelical church with white pastors. And I married young, and I married a conservative white guy. And, I drank the Kool-Aid. I had debates about race, and I had this anger. I can admit it now, but I did have an anger toward my community for the rejection that I faced and the teasing that I faced, which was, now that I look back on it, sometimes kids are mean. It happens. Doesn't mean I'll never have Black friends. And it wasn't until I joined the cast of The Little Mermaid that I made my first close Black male friends, Daniel and Derek. And I was like, oh my gosh, they don't tease me. Like, they tease me, but not in the same way. It's like not mean-spirited. And then I started making more Black friends. And look, this is not to say I never had any Black friends in high school. I had 3 close Black girlfriends in high school and 1 Black male friend in high school that was part of my social group. But when I joined Mermaid and all of a sudden had acceptance by a large group of people who looked like me, it was almost like the healing started then. And it's been constant healing. My parents always raised us to be proud of who we are, but it doesn't matter how many lessons you give your kids, their social surroundings are going to make a huge impact. And when you are a Black woman in a predominantly white space who sees her white friends get asked out by the Black guys that you wish would ask you out, does a little something to the self-esteem. And I know I'm not the only one who went through this. I meet other Black suburban girls who had similar experiences. And it's not until adulthood that we actually get to see ourselves. But I digress. I would like to ask my white friends from PA that are upset or concerned about my posts, why? Is it that you're upset to see me upset? Is it that you just don't feel like hearing about race anymore and you just wish it would go back to normal? Or is it because you truly don't believe there's a racial problem in America? I would actually appreciate it more if people would just be honest and say, yeah, I don't feel like hearing about it anymore. It doesn't affect me, and it's kind of putting me in a negative headspace. So can y'all just be quiet about that? I would respect that a lot more than the people who go out of their way to find a Candace Owens video, or there's another video floating around with a guy speaking against Black Lives Matter, or any number of Black Trump supporters. Miss me with that. They're not saying anything that I didn't used to say myself. But here's the thing, they don't speak for all Black people. They don't speak for the Black experience. Black people are not a monolith. I don't speak for the Black experience, but what I'm not going to do is say that racism doesn't exist anymore. I would never say that. That's crazy talk. I would also never say that until Black people care about Black on Black crime, we shouldn't care about police brutality. But I'm gonna be real. Back in the day, when I was in a space of pain and rejection and denial, I probably would have said those things. So when I see these people speaking out so emotionally about these subjects, people who look like me, I get sad for them. Because I'm like, yeah, that's some deep wounding. Whether it was colorism, whether they were teased for being dark-skinned or whatever, or teased for being other, they're hurting. And, God forbid something terrible happens, we'll march for them. We'll march for them. I don't know. I was just kind of fired up because it's been happening a lot, and we're past the point of I don't understand. I need the people who are saying, yeah, I get it now. I'm with you. I say, welcome. Now I need you to examine why it took you so long. Why it took you so long to believe us. And for those who are still in denial, I need you to examine why you're unwilling to hear. I need you to examine why you feel you have to be the expert on the Black experience in America. I need you to examine why you still won't believe people when they say, please stop killing us. Are we gonna have to just start telling you every time we experience racism? All right. I mean, that's kind of how I'm dealing with my debates now for people from my past. You say, oh, you never dealt with any of that, didn't I? All right, well, let's rewind to kindergarten. And then we start from there. I don't want to give up on the people from my hometown. I don't. There are amazing people there. But I need you to understand that you saw part of me. And that was the carefully cultivated part of me that knew that based on what you said to me about other Black people, that I had to hide that part of myself. I knew that I had to speak differently around you than I speak around my family. Code switching. I'm a pro at it. And you didn't know me as well as you think you did. That's white privilege. White privilege is being able to just be yourself. I mean, gosh, I look back at my time in high school and I wonder what that experience would have been like if I wasn't so worried about making white people comfortable with my Blackness. What would it have been like if I wasn't so concerned with making sure I was palatable or that my Blackness didn't make me stand out so much? What would it have been like if I didn't enter every room thinking, "Ugh, I hope they'll accept me. I hope they won't. I hope they're not racist. I hope I'll make a friend." So yeah, those are just some thoughts that I was having today. I don't even get upset over anything Candace Owens says. I don't, because she's in the sunken place. And I say that because I used to be there too. So yeah, if you're someone who's still denying that racism exists in America and you're just not willing to hear it, please stop saying you're a good person. Stop it. Stop using the Bible to speak out against Black Lives Matter. Slave owners used to use the Bible to justify slavery. And I saw a meme the other day, and it was basically saying, if you have biracial children, it doesn't mean that you can't be racist. You know who else had biracial children? Slave owners. Yeah. It hits hard. And look, my features, slavery. There are white people in my family tree. They were not consensual relationships. So, sorry, I went off on a tangent there. I think I'm just tired. I'm tired of, I love Jesus and I've read the Bible many times. And I think I'm very tired of seeing people use it as a weapon of hate. I'm really tired of that. And the evangelical church tends to see itself as the hero of the story. But I think they're probably the Pharisees. And one day, our kids and grandkids are going to look back, kind of like we do at Nazi Germany, kind of like we do with segregation in schools, and we wonder, how could that have happened? It's happening now. And because I love you, I'm calling it out. I'm sorry your feelings are hurt. My feelings are hurt on a regular basis. But we're literally saying, please stop killing us. And you're saying, my feelings are hurt. I don't want to talk about this. I don't have time to talk about this. It's a pandemic. You know who else is dealing with the pandemic? Black people. So, yeah. Miss me with the excuses. PA, get it together. I need you to be honest about what you really stand for. That's all. Black Lives Matter.